Hello. Let's continue on. So it's July 11th, 6:17 a.m. I took a break, and so we're going back to where we left off. My dad, the Greedy Framer, giving his sermons from his house. Basically, in 2011, my dad, the Greedy Framer, would call people over to his house, and he would give them sermons on mass murdering innocent human beings. And basically, yeah, it was illegal, it was wrong, and it was extremely dangerous. He wants to criticize me now because November 20th was a false testimony. He begged his Framer sisters to fabricate against me, and he was caught. And he was caught with a government informant present there. And then the next set of lies were really funny because he had to be left off there alone by himself. What happened was my dad, the Greedy Framer, and his Framer sisters had to basically plan everything out. They saw that I won my case all throughout 2025, so they had to plan everything out. So basically, they worked out with each other, telling each other that they're going to make lies about me after this false testimony that they were going to take from government informant, basically, and not law enforcement. They thought it was corrupt law enforcement that were giving him the false testimony against me when in fact it was a government informant. Well, anyways, what ended up happening was they take so they had these planned lies that they were going to make, and they had already planned it out together. The only problem was it was like, you know, when you go to a car mechanic and you're getting one thing fixed in your car, you got another thing, you just tell them about the other thing. You're like, hey, look, I've got another problem. The car mechanic's going to be like, yeah, tell me. So that's exactly what happened with my dad, the Greedy Framer's sister, while she was fabricating November 20th against me. She tells the government informant, she's like, I've got more sets of lies I need help with. And the government informant's like, yeah, tell me, what are they? And she tells the government informant pretty much everything. All the lies that she was planning on making against me due to extreme envy of my brain savant, and anger that it didn't end up being one of her kids, and her kids ended up making even less than their own parents, and who knows, they might be drug addicts or something else. You know, you never know people these days. So basically, yeah. And so basically, she tells the government informant everything out of extreme envy that she did not want my brain savant freed at any cost. She basically wanted to perfect the lies, make sure that they were so good that she could go say it in court. And basically, this car mechanic who's fixing one problem, which is the November 20th false testimony, is going to fix the remaining problems as well, which would be the remaining lies that she pretty much had, that she had planned out with me. So now the thing is, my dad, the Greedy Framer, is just stuck there because she's confessed to the government informant as the remaining lies that she was going to make against me. And my dad, the Greedy Framer, being in Ireland, he can't be called and told, like, don't make those lies. Like, he'd be like, why not? You know, like, the government's listening in. November 20th, 2025 was such a big deal that no news anchor on CNN could smile on live TV for days afterwards. Using the fear of people doing bad things and committing crimes, and using that to your advantage to enviously lock up someone's brain savant is illegal. And it is wrong. You're basically using people's fear. You're causing them to have fear. You're causing families to be in fear over a major crime that you are claiming that I committed on November 20th, 2025. And you're using the fear of that crime to your advantage for your own personal envious goals of locking up my brain savant so that no one can get the money that they couldn't get, basically. Like right now, my dad, the Greedy Framer, has to try to argue that brain savant doesn't exist. It's not going to be that much money, this and that. Yeah, a little too late to do that. You've already, like, February 17th, 3:02 a.m., you know, he's been told that the brain savant getting freed is inevitable, and right then there, he makes a list for Santa Claus. A $25 million Rolls Royce, oh my God. You know how much Rolls Royce costs? $500,000. And it's just like one of those things, you know, and like 8.9 million euro mansion sent to me 19 times in the morning of February 19th. Yeah, not one red cent. How about zero? You know, it's that sort of thing. But the thing is, spokesperson Greedy Framer mother, basically, she was extremely envious of my brain savant. Finding out about it, the monetary potential, we know for a fact, since they also confessed to the government informant that they were extremely envious of my brain savant, due to which, as soon as they found out that there was a government informant and everything that they told the government informant, what they ended up doing was she ended up sending me blackmail price tags of everything that she wanted, like wish lists, basically envy of me being able to achieve those things, and she would daydream about it and send it to me through law enforcement to basically harass someone your child's age due to extreme envy of basically money. You don't want that person with this much money, and you want to imagine yourself having it. You want to harass that person, torture them by sending them these blackmail price tags, so you could just feel like, I'm going to keep harassing you with lies in court. Well, I'm not that stupid. As soon as I received the first blackmail price tag, I knew for a fact that the only reason these people were acting so guilty in front of the courts was because they were obviously lied in court with, and while after confessing to the government informant everything that they were going to lie about, obviously. And they also told the government informant that they were doing all of this due to extreme envy and greed. Obviously, like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to, like, figure this one out. They obviously told the government informant everything, which is why they, like, at the last moment, you know, they just kind of walked away, like, and they were just like, just give us illegal assurances of all this money and we'll let you go. We won't make any more lies against you. No illegal assurances, because I know the only reason you're asking for illegal assurances is obviously because you confessed to the government informant as you having to lie. And you found that out after you were done lying. So they confessed to the government informant that they're going to make more lies against me after November 20th. And they find out about the government informant when? After they were done lying. So now they can't make any more lies because they made way too many. All of them confessed to the government informant. And the third set of lies, all phone calls retrieved only to find out that they lied again. Played the courts for a fool for the third time. Anyways, yeah, compared to my mother, who's never uttered one bad word her entire life, my dad, the greedy framer, basically in the year 2011 is giving these sermons to people to encourage them to basically join terror groups and commit mass murder of innocent human beings, due to which we do not know how many people have been killed because of him, what he's done. So basically, he cannot use this thing where he's going to be like, Uncle Joey said this around his son when he was a child being adult supervised by Uncle Joey. How do you say this? You can't. You can't say it yourself. Well, law enforcement cannot say it because law enforcement were running sex games for Uncle Joey in 2023 at the funeral in November 2023, like as if Uncle Joey was like a government official or something. Like, it's just like foreign statesmen are quoting Uncle Joey. Like, seriously, that's literally what it looked like. But yeah, the law enforcement gives it to whom? My dad, the greedy framer. Now, my dad, the greedy framer, finds out that law enforcement knows about what he was up to in 2011. He can't give these sermons. Why? Because he's going to say law enforcement's BFF Uncle Joey said this and this around his son when his son was 11 years old, being adult supervised by him while his mother was at work. It can't hold because he's saying Uncle Joey said this around his son in 2001, sorry, when the son was an 11-year-old child. And my dad, the greedy framer, in 2011 is doing this where he's basically doing something extremely dangerous. He's giving sermons to masses from his house in 2011, telling them that they should commit mass murder of innocent human beings, something my mother has never been heard uttering even remotely resembling in the more than 25 years that she's been watched along with me, due to which after I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, I've never been even remotely present in any settings where anything even remotely considered bad has ever been said around me ever again. So now the problem is that, you know, you've got my dad, the greedy framer. He cannot say this anymore because if he says this, then they're just going to be like, well, you're saying that Uncle Joey said this around his son when he was an 11-year-old child while he was being adult supervised after his mother had already talked to law enforcement about it and told law enforcement that she only had to keep him adult supervised with anyone willing to watch him for free until he became a mentally mature enough child. And yet you didn't say anything like Uncle Joey. You did something extremely dangerous. Why were you calling people over to your house in the masses, giving them sermons about joining terror groups in 2011? Obviously, they did this, and people listening to my video might be surprised as to why would law enforcement tip him off if it was this big. First of all, I have to let everyone know that law enforcement went into a panic before they tipped them off. And we know this for a fact because law enforcement always does go into a panic very quickly. Like how before I went to Russia and I told law enforcement about their previous false testimonies, they went into a panic again. So basically, law enforcement went into a panic in 2011, and they had two choices: either investigate my dad, the greedy framer, which would have been the right thing to do. Do you know how many people joined terror groups? How many people have been murdered? No, you don't know. We don't know. No one knows. Why? Law enforcement never did an investigation. They do this every single time. So their law enforcement has narrators like Assad. Assad was 100% involved in the wedding crime, which I could not be present in. Thankfully, law enforcement told me about it, because if they did not try to frame me, I would never know about this wedding crime. And God only knows how many crimes they've committed till now by covering over them. Covering over a crime, by the way, is a crime. It is a crime. It's a crime because law enforcement does not own the law. They're not land. They don't own the law. I don't know what the quote is. They're not the law of the land. Yeah, they're not the law of the land. They don't own the law. Law enforcement is basically there to enforce the law. They have no right covering over any crimes, which I can guarantee the courts that law enforcement absolutely covered over whatever the wedding crime was. Thankfully, they told me about in 2023, and we know for a fact that law enforcement covered over these crimes. Yeah, so basically, yeah, that is what happened. And so I can guarantee that not only was Assad present in the crime scene, he committed it, he was fully involved, and not only was he involved, I can guarantee the course, the entire wedding, he was with the other people who committed the crimes, and never even met with the other people in the wedding, only the people who committed the crimes. How do I know this? Simple criminal psychology. When you commit a crime, you want to talk about it. Take the weight off your chest so that you feel good about it. Why do you think the spokesperson, greedy framer mother, talked so much to the government informant that they literally had to end up taking away half of the stuff that they had planned against me? Like literally, like their motive wasn't gone. They had to blackmail me with price tags of millions of dollars to try to see if I would be willing to give them this money after my brain savant would get freed or not. Their motive was absolutely gone. Why? Because they already confessed to the government informant that their motive was money, and finding out that I was a triple savant who is brain savant. Right now is fully locked, and April 22nd, 2025 it was open, but let's not worry about April 22nd, 2025. You have June 24th, 2026, basically about a month ago, when they let go of my ears a little bit while I was driving my car. My mother likes going on drives around the evening time, is when they tested it out. Why did they do it that way? Because ear drugging lured inside my brain is now visible to the human eye. If they let go of my ears, like right now, see how it's visible? It's visible. Excuse me, if they let go of it in my house, well, then other countries watching might see it. So they have to let go of it someplace else, like my car while I'm driving. So they let go of it in my car while I was driving. And so they did a test, and we know that the test results for ears, the energy weapon tools around my ears, it's only taking 2 weeks or 14 days or so, whereas the ones for air drugging being lowered, the brain savant test for air drugging being lowered, is about 21 days. So yeah, so my dad, the greedy framer, basically he cannot narrate in my trial anymore, because, well, not with this anyways. He realized that, which is why he started sending me blackmail price tags of millions of dollars, euros. First one was dollars with his nickname, so I would know that Sam, so that they could check with a brain scanner what the chances of him getting this money from me are. What a great use of this technology. You know, brain scanner being used to see if the person narrating would get the blackmail price tag or not. And the reason I know that the brain savant test results are 14 days for energy weapons on my ears being let go of and tested, or 21 days with my energy weapon, air drugging inside my brain being lowered or taken away, is because 21 days later after the test, Kelly starts stroking my penis really hard, and 14 days later, after June 24th, she starts doing that same thing. Well, anyways, yeah, terrible use of this technology. Literally like a time machine that they have. January 20th, 2026, they were able to see the very early stages of my brain savant and how it was before it evolved, when I used to watch documentaries, less than a 10-year-old child, and how I used to feel when I used to watch those documentaries when I didn't have instantaneous photographic memory focusing or innovation. They tested that out, which is literally impossible for me to test out. If they let go of my brain savant completely, I cannot test it out. You have to remember the thing has evolved. So they had to tell their computer to lock up my entire brain and just let the autistic brain part be the part for childhood free. Like, this thing is like really advanced, and they're do things like find out what the chances of their narrator, my dad the greedy framer, getting millions of dollars from me is when my brain savant is freed, or for Kelly from law enforcement to stroke my penis every time a brain savant test result comes out. Try to see if she could be my wife and get all the money from me or not. Such a bad use of this technology. It's literally a time machine. Yeah. I cannot go back in time and check what my brain savant would be like if it wasn't evolved, when it wasn't evolved. Even if they let go of my brain. Well, anyways, so yeah. So he was basically tipped off, just like how Assad was tipped off after the wedding crime. By the way, I fully feel that everyone should be investigated for whatever the wedding crime was. Every single person present there, every single person in law enforcement who covered it over, and every single person in law enforcement who ran sex schemes with any of the individuals in the crime scene, or money fraud with any of the individuals in the crime scene. I fully feel that these people should all be tried for this. Law enforcement is not the law of the land. They do not have the right to frame people like me. They do not have the right to cover over crimes for their BFFs, nor do they have the right to commit sex schemes and money fraud with individuals. I really feel that this crime should be tried, along with every single individual, including law enforcement, that were involved in it. And I can guarantee us that's going to be involved in it. And he just simply packed up and left. Like, I can guarantee law enforcement told him, don't answer any questions, because everyone knows. Okay, they were all involved. Law enforcement was involved. Anyways, yeah. So my dad, the greedy framer, cannot use this. Uncle Joey said this around him when he was a child being adult supervised, because he'd be saying, Uncle Joey said this. And even that was after my mother had already talked to law enforcement when I was an 11-year-old child, made an excuse, made a promise. She fulfilled her promise. The moment I became mentally mature enough as a child, never for me to ever again be seen in any settings where anything remotely considered bad was ever said around me ever again, despite me never living with anyone throughout my entire life except for my mother. I have never even lived in the same country as my dad, the greedy framer, ever in my life. Never talked to him on the phone, making it impossible for someone whom I've never lived with or talked to on the phone to have had any influence on me or my environment whatsoever throughout my entire life. My mother basically paid for everything, and law enforcement is a witness to this fact. Even though she used to work at a grocery store, she used to pay for she paid for basically everything. And right now, these people illegally found out about my brain savant, and now they want money. Hence, all the blackmail price tags that I've been receiving from my dad, the greedy framer. I've already received from everyone. All these forced marriage requests from Fer, the greedy framer, for her abnormal-looking weirdo daughter. Miss Deb's another case. Yeah, married daughter. Not separated, not divorced, married, happily married. You want me to marry your married daughter? Like, how is this about to work? Obviously, it's a scam. It's a prenup scam. You get the guy to sign what you want him to sign based on the fear of false testimonies, narrations in court. You play nice with each other while the person is at your house trying to make this deal, and the person is too scared to say anything at that time. Later on, when they run away, you force them to give you that money. That's basically what it is. And Miss Deb is playing this game just like how Fer, the greedy framer, is. And we know this for a fact because on July 6th, I called them out. I was like, look, this is a scam. And I've been saying since June 19th that I don't want to marry your daughter. So stop sending me requests for your daughter. And so after July 6th, I got sick and tired of it. I was like, this is a prenup scam. Fer, the greedy framer, is running. She sent it to me 8 times after July 6th. Yeah. So my dad, the greedy framer, and he cannot use this last. Uncle Joey said this around him when he was an 11-year-old child, when the war occurred. When I was an 11-year-old child, and Uncle Joey was adult supervising me, due to the fact that my dad didn't just say something, he was doing something terrible. And one of the only 3 times I've ever met him in my life, in 2011, giving sermons on the killing of innocent human beings and joining terror groups had consequences and effects ranging from people joining terror groups and committing mass murders against innocent human beings. Since these sermons from his house, my dad, the greedy framer's house, were obviously being given for years and years from before he was abruptly tipped off by law enforcement one day. And so my dad, the greedy framer, realized that this last narration against me, that one of law enforcement's BFFs, now it could be that he wasn't giving it for years and years, but the fact of the matter is, he was giving it at that time, and he was giving it for a while, and he stopped so abruptly that I knew for a fact that he was tipped off. And the reason I knew he was tipped off was because law enforcement's history. They've always tipped everyone off. Why do you think us as narrating in this trial? He was tipped off by law enforcement, and then they became BFFs. He was never even questioned for the wedding crime, and even though I'm 100% sure he was fully involved in it. Anyways, and so my dad, the greedy framer, realized that this last narration against me, that one of law enforcement's BFFs like Uncle Joey could have said something even remotely considered bad around me as a child, when I had not even gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, that law enforcement could not say against me due to the person saying it being someone that law enforcement would have ran sex schemes with, like Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001, due to which aggressive sex schemes had to be given to Uncle Joey at the funeral in November 2023. So you understand why law enforcement cannot say this narration. It's just not possible. Or money fraud that have been run for years and years cannot have this narration of someone even remotely saying something bad around me as a child, being adult supervised by one of law enforcement's own BFFs, while my mother was out working since regardless of how much my dad, the greedy framer, might try to exaggerate this, it would only constitute as being something that someone might have said that could be considered even remotely bad around me, and would remain something that someone might have said around me, regardless of how much my dad, the greedy framer, might try to exaggerate it against me. So he could try to exaggerate something against me, like he said this, he said this, he said this, he said this. It's not going to change the fact that he only said this. Compared to 2011, when my dad, the greedy framer, is observed doing something extremely dangerous by recruiting people and encouraging them to join terror groups, that would be doing something extremely dangerous and illegal. And so no matter how many times he repeats the words, he said this, it's only he said this. He can exaggerate as much as he wants. He cannot add lies to it, because by now he's been caught lying way too many times, due to which adding lies to anything at this point or making things up, it's just pointless. No one's going to believe it. Like the 3rd time he was caught lying. First time was November 20th. Second time was the hilarious time, because it was already all like planned out, and and he was the only one lying after November 20th, because his sisters, they talked amongst themselves like, don't make those lies. Like, I confessed to the government informant that we're gonna make those lies. He helped me out in those lies. Don't make those lies. Well, the last person can't be told to not make those lies, because he lives in Ireland and he doesn't have a visa to the US, so he has to be told over the phone, so he can't be told. So every time he would call the court and lie, my dad, the greedy framer's sisters would just be like, oh, he's lying. And the courts know he's lying. I already confessed all these lies as being planned lies. So yeah, those second lies were very funny. And the third set of lies after the entire commit incest with my sisters, big fat ugly old sisters, like, come on, man, like, seriously. And so it was just kind of like, it was disgusting. But since that's all he had on March 7, 2026, sent me a porn star's picture with his sister for his name on it again, even though he'd already done it February 11th at 3:17 a.m. and he was told this is an open advertisement for incest. Well, instead of letting my mother have all that money, which now he was claiming shortly before July 9th, 2 days ago, that I don't think he's gonna, he just says these things, he's not able to do them, he can't do them, he just says them, he can't do them. Well, before July 9th, he was saying these things. And so on July 9th, he starts sending me blackmail price tags of millions of euros again. So do you think he doesn't believe it? I seriously doubt he doesn't believe it. He does believe it. And so we know this for a fact, because no one is going to send like porn star's picture with their sister's name on it unless they know for a fact that there's money involved. And no one doubts artificial intelligence or their reports. So yes, nor am I psychic enough to know what the report says, unless if what I'm saying is true. In this case, what I'm saying is true, obviously. And basically, it's all a calculated move. It's a calculated move from my part, due to which someone put on YouTube, the gambler and this and that. There's no gambling over here, all right? Trust me on that. It's all calculated move from my part, because I know for a fact what I have, due to which I would show up in Russia, or I would make vows to them on video, under oath, oaths to them on video. And it's all calculated move on their part. You have to remember the fact that they do a brain savant test. They do it for 1 minute, less than 1 minute, till artificial intelligence is able to calculate what the results would be for 30 minutes. And as soon as artificial intelligence finds out what the results are going to be for 30 minutes, close everything up, pack it up, leave, turn it back off. That's exactly what they do. It's a calculated move on their part, not doing a 30-minute test, because they know what the answer is going to be at the end of that 30-minute test. And we know they know, because as soon as the brain savant test result comes out, like let's say November 14th, 2025, comes out in December 10th, 2025, their BFFs, the girls that they know, are stalking me so much that they end up hitting my car. So yes, it was a calculated move on their part, and we know that. Okay, so everyone knows what the truth is over here, and they're gonna get someone like my dad, the greedy framer, to be like, no, no. Well, July 9th, sir, and July 10th, 1 day time period, you sent me 15 times blackmail price tags, for which I cannot give a single penny of. 0 is what you're gonna get. But why would you send someone that during an open trial, knowing for a fact that it's making you look extremely guilty, especially considering the fact that your sister has already confessed to government informant that this is all about the greed and envy for money due to my brain savant? Why would you do something so stupid? Obviously, it is for money, and they're using a brain scanner to try to check to see what the chances of him getting the money is. He's already tried incest after he was told that this is incest, due to how desperate he was to try to get the money to make sure that my mother could not be the only one to get it. So yeah, it is about the money. I think that much we know. So yeah. So what my dad, the greedy framer, was doing in 2011 would be constituted as something that my dad, the greedy framer, was doing around me that was incredibly dangerous and absolutely illegal, since what my dad, the greedy framer, was doing in 2011 was recruiting people and encouraging people to join terror groups and mass murder innocent human beings, the results of which we do not even know, since we do not know how many people it is that my dad, the greedy framer, had recruited to join terror groups until then, and how many people it is that my dad, the greedy framer, had encouraged to mass murder innocent human beings until then, and how many people had actually acted out on what my dad, the greedy framer, had asked them to do, which I witnessed with my own eyes. My dad, the greedy framer, recruiting people to join terror groups and mass murder innocent human beings in 2011, and law enforcement themselves also witnessed with their own eyes. The reason I didn't report it was because law enforcement had already tipped them off, so there's no point in reporting something that law enforcement knows about and they're handling in the best situation possible, which is not. I'm being sarcastic. They always tip people off. Hence, you have Assad narrating in this trial, and despite him being fully involved in the wedding incident, never questioned about a single thing. My dad, the greedy framer, encouraged people to join terror groups and mass murdered innocent human beings with law enforcement's own eyes, due to which my dad, the greedy framer, knew that apart from law enforcement not being able to narrate this claim against a child when I did not even have the slightest bit of mental maturity yet in the world, my dad, the greedy framer, was also another person who could not narrate this claim against me, due to the fact that no matter how much you try your best to exaggerate something that someone might have said around a child when I was a child and had not even had the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, is still something that someone might have said around me as a child. no matter how hard my dad, the greedy framer, might try to exaggerate it with the amount of lies that he has been caught making until now. Basically, since November 20th, the subsequent lies made aggressively that were already confessed to being lies to the government informant before November 20th, I find these really hilarious, since they were already confessed to being lies, and he was the only one left to be forced to make them, while his sisters basically walked away from the remaining lies for the ones that were supposed to be made after November 20th. My dad, the greedy framer's former sisters, basically just walked away from them, like, we're not going to make these because we already confessed them, but we can't tell our brother, my dad, the greedy framer, to not make them either, since if we did, basically, yeah, you would have to say it over the phone. That's twice the evidence. One is confessing to the government informant, and the second one is over the phone conversation. And they would be doing this over the phone conversation after November 20th. You got to remember, November 20th was a big false testimony against me, made to make sure that my brain savant would enviously be locked up for sure. So after that, they knew for a fact that after making such a big, bold, false testimony against me, their phone conversations would be tapped, because the government would be like, we got to find out if it's true or not. This is a big false testimony. Well, government's not that stupid, not are they that slow. They already put in an informant, due to which they already knew that it was false, but they were still tapping their phones, obviously, because it was a big false testimony, and these people are using the fear of people doing bad things to their advantage for personal motives, like locking up my brain savant so no one can get the money. And we know for a fact that this was the motive, because they mainly confessed to the government informant as that being the motive. Money, the envy and greed for money being the motive. How do we know this? After November 20th, they basically they couldn't make the subsequent lies, but when they saw their brother, my dad, the greedy framer, making the lies, my dad, the greedy framer's sisters, basically knew they had no players to play this game left anymore, because of the fact that everyone was out. They're all lying like crazy. And so basically what they had to do now was try to go for greed, because they already confessed to the government informant that they're going to make these lies against me, and that it was only due to the greed and envy for money. So they had to go for greed now, and going for greed now basically just meant that blackmail price tags, including that Manila Plan oceanfront mansion that I really liked. I was looking at it the other day. I was like, hey, I was kind of daydreaming, like, if I had a brain salon open, like, what would I buy? Well, turns out the thing I was looking at on YouTube turned out to be one of the blackmail price tags that they were sending me. Talk about coincidences. They're just thinking in their mind, like, if he had his brain savant freed, what would we want from him as a blackmail price tag? Which, by the way, I won't give anyone any money. I don't even think about it. But the thing that they came up with happened to be the exact same thing that I came up with for myself. I was looking at oceanfront mansions, and I came upon one of the blackmail price tags in Manila Plan, Florida. A really nice mansion, oceanfront mansion. I was like, whoa. Same exact one I received the blackmail price tag for. Well, you know what? I like it for myself, not for anyone else, though. But anyways, to the government informant before November 20th, 2025, these are the subsequent lies that they're going to make that they all backed away from, except for my dad, the greedy framer. He kept making these lies. He's a liar, okay? So July 9th, he's sending me all these price tag blackmails for millions of dollars, only because this liar, whom I want to punch in the face so hard, due to the fact that, sending someone blackmail price tags is not a nice thing. It's incredibly irritating. My entire life, I worked really hard with my single mother, and she worked at fast food restaurants, and I worked really hard with her. I took good care of her, and only for me to grow up, and the psychopath just shows up out of nowhere. Never did a single thing for me ever in my entire life. My mother hates him, I hate him. We annoyed the heck out of him, annoyed by him. And now he's just showing up for the money and blackmailing me after making lies against me in court. This is not the way to do it. This is not right. He's already made so many lies against me. It's extremely annoying. And now he just keeps making more and more lies, and I don't know why the courts don't understand the fact that not only is this man lying, he's sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, and And yeah, he's sending me, he's never had a college degree. He's even lied about that. He said that he had a college degree after going to Ireland, and there's no record of any such thing. Yeah, and he's been sending me blackmail price tags. Between July 9th and July 10th, he sent me 15 blackmail price tags for like millions of dollars or millions of euros mainly. One was for dollars, and that was for, with his nickname on it, so I would know that it's from him. Blackmail with price tags of millions of euros, lying over and over again in court. Like, I don't get why this court, like, anyways. So after the November 20th one, he's made subsequent more lies against me. Okay, after I refused the incest request from March 7th, 2026, despite it already being labeled an incest request on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. Disgusting. Very disgusting individual. This man would do anything for money. And then he claims that there's no money involved. Well, yeah, right. Your actions speak otherwise, sir. There's definitely, in your mind, there's definitely money involved. I can guarantee you that much. He's trying to sell his sister on March 7, 2026, 3 times in one morning after he's already been told on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. that this is an open advertisement for incest. What are the chances he doesn't think there's any money involved? Highly unlikely. I just wanted you to commit incest with my sister and then become BFFs with me for no reason. Yeah, right. I wasn't born yesterday, and is that why you've been sending me these blackmail price tags for millions of euros all day, night long from July 9th till July 10th in 1 day time period? I don't think so. I don't think you're going to jeopardize your chances of being able to narrate in this trial after all the lies you've already made by sending me blackmail price tags, unless you thought your lies were not going to hold any weight anymore, due to which you were sending me blackmail price tags to try to check to see what your chances of getting any money are from me, which is absolutely zero. Okay, yeah, we weren't born yesterday. And the numerous lies, so basically incest is what he tries on March 7, 2026, and he tries it 3 times. I give you the exact time for when the Porn Stars picture was sent to me on March 7, 2026. It was sent to me on March 7th at 10:41 a.m., March 7th at 11:06 a.m., March 7th at 2:07 p.m. After he was already told that this is an open advertisement for incest, he still continued sending it to me. He was already told February 11th at 3:17 a.m. Yeah, the man is after the money. And he wanted to enviously lock up my brain savant. When he failed in doing so, and he knew that I knew about what he was up to, making lies against me, then he tried to use incest to try to get me to commit incest with his big, fat, ugly old sister named Fire the Greedy Farmer, and his other ones too. They're absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Yeah. He can't deny it. There's phone conversations of him asking law enforcement to send me these things, and obviously it's only for the money, which is why he sent me 15 blackmail price tags between July 9th and July 10th to try to see if I was willing to give him millions of euros and illegal assurances. Yeah, right. Every time he sends me, it means I'm winning. I'm not giving anyone a single penny, zero. I'm not running for office. If you want to go to the news media after my brain savant gets read as the dad for the guy with the triple brain savant who just became extremely rich, go right ahead. I'm not running for office. I couldn't care less what anyone says about me. He can even go there and say that November 20th was a true testimony against me. I couldn't care less. Anyways, and numerous blackmail price tags of millions of euros or dollars were also lies and fabrications made against starting April 2026 that were made so aggressively, while these lies and fabrications were made so rudely against the people working at the courts, where my dad, the greedy farmer, would berate the people working at the courts. So we got to go over the third set of lies that he made after the entire incest request by his sisters and all these things that he tried for money. Basically, he made the first 2 set of lies. First set was November 20th, 2026. He begged his former sisters and law enforcement to make it fully involved in it. He was kicked out December 29th at 1:27 p.m., at which time he sends me blackmail price tags for, he sends me money transfer ads to try to see if you could get money from me or not. Second set of lies, already confessed to government informant as being lies. He's told February 10th. This time, once again, he goes for illegal assurances of money, except this time he he uses incest as leverage. So he sends me a porn star's picture with his sister Farah's name on it at February 11th, 3:17 a.m. and very disgusting picture of some woman slightly resembling his other sister's spokesperson's mother from Florida. Very disgusting individual. And we know for a fact that 3:17 a.m. Is a proven fact that it was an incest request, since on March 7th he tried it 3 times again, despite being told that this is an open advertisement for incest, clearly showing that he was fully intending on using incest for after his second set of lies were caught, only to try to get illegal assurance of money, which we now know for a fact, since now when he gets caught and he thinks my brain savant's going to get freed, he goes straight to illegal assurances of millions of euros, as in between July 9th and July 10th, and just 2 days ago, 15 illegal blackmail price tags in a period of 1 day. So he does this every single time, and no, he wasn't doing it before July 9th. He was doing it on July 9th because he figured out on July 9th that chances are pretty slim. Having problems with spokesperson. Assad's been out due to being guilty. So yeah, this was probably the only option that he had. The spokesperson, not the brightest, I would say. Last night, July 10th, he was stalking me so that he could make a video around me with law enforcement so that he could show it to women as being the cousin of the guy with the triple savant, so he could try to run after them, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, not the smartest guy, and they know that he's eventually gonna be going, basically, sex addiction, drug addiction, something like that. Guy literally is acting like a drug addict. I don't know what he is or is not, but that's what it looked like. Anyways, so basically, so the third set of lies after trying this money with me, try to get me to give him illegal assurances of money, were made very aggressively. They were made very rudely, aggressively, abusing the people that worked at court, yelling at them, berating them, screaming at them, only to abuse them, harass them, humiliate them, only so that they would be too scared to talk back to him. Why? Because he already knew that his word did not carry any weight, due to the fact that not only was he caught making November 20th lies, but the subsequent lies that were already confessed to being lies to the government informant, and yet he made them very aggressively. Due to which, afterwards, he had to try to use incest with his big, fat, ugly old sisters that no one's interested in, by the way, to try to get illegal assurances of money. When I refused those, he tried to use blackmail price tags, which he just used 2 days ago, between July 9th and July 10th, to get illegal assurances of money, despite him knowing how this is going to lower his chances of being able to narrate in the trial, where he's trying to cling on so tightly he cannot let go of. So he's committing one guilty act after another, using incest for illegal assurances of money, even though he was told February 11th that this is open advertisement for incest, 3:17 a.m., and then 3:56 a.m. for his other sister. Very disgusting individual. He still tries it on March 7th, even though he was told that this is open advertisement for incest, because he wanted illegal assurances of money, which is why he was sending me these blackmail price tags. So when 2 sets of lies, November 20th and the ones that were confessed right afterwards, and yet still made in court very aggressively, only because no one could tell him over the phone, don't make those lies, they've already been confessed as being lies, he still made them. 2 sets of lies already made, and then he tried illegal assurances of money through incest, and then when that failed, obviously he tried blackmail price tags, and I obviously knew that he knew that I was winning, due to which he was sending me blackmail price tags. I'm not willing to pay anyone a single penny. I won't even make a fake assurance with anyone about any single penny. So basically, after those, he had to make his lies very aggressively while berating the people of the court, yelling at them, screaming at them, humiliating them, harassing them, saying stuff like, "You're twisting my words," saying stuff like, "You're not letting me speak," and that I'm trying to help the courts to get to the truth of the matter, only for us to find out at the end of the day that every single statement he said, even for the 3rd time, all completely false. He was lying once again, playing the court for a fool, and he said them very aggressively, yelled at everyone in court, berated them, abused them. And he only did that because that was the only option left, since he had already tried selling his sisters to me for incest in exchange for illegal assurances of money when my brain savant would get freed. He was told on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. that this is an open advertisement for incest. When you're sending a porn star's picture with your sister's name on it to me, or sending a very disgusting individual sending someone's picture resembling his other sister. But the porn star's picture, he was told, is open advertisement for incest on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. He still sent it to me on March 7th, 3 times. He tried everything for illegal assurance of money when he saw that my brain savant was about to get freed. So now he went in for the 3rd time to make lies. This time, since he knew that not only did he try incest for illegal assurance of money, except for blackmail price tags of millions of euros against me, none of it worked on me, and he'd already been caught making lies. He was extremely angry at the fact that he was not going to be taken seriously, due to which he was very abusive towards people that were working in court. Very abusive to them. He was humiliating them, berating them, yelling at them, saying that he's helping the courts to get to the truth of the matter, saying that his words are being twisted, harassing them in court. Not something that someone's allowed to be doing against any other human being on this planet. And yet he was doing it very openly and very aggressively, only for us to find out at the end of the day that every single statement that he had made from the phone conversations retrieved, every single statement, complete and total lie. So the 3rd time, these lies were made so aggressively, and while these lies and fabrications were made so rudely against the people working at the courts, where my dad, the greedy framer, would berate the people working at the courts, make his lies very aggressively starting April 2026, and continuously claim that he was not being allowed to speak, that his words were being twisted, and that he was a victim of having his words somehow twisted, and him being degraded in court, while he was only trying to help the courts get to the truth of the matter. Was any of this true? No. He was not helping the courts get to the truth of the matter. His words were not being twisted. He was just being found to be lying over and over again. And whenever he would get caught being found to be lying, he would say, "You're twisting my words. I'm not saying this. I didn't say this." Only for the courts at the end of the day being forced to retrieve every single phone conversation, only to find out that, forget twisting the words or this or that, not one statement was true. Every single thing that he said for the 3rd time were complete and total falsehood. They were all a bunch of lies. So my dad, the greedy framer, would get incredibly aggressive towards the people working in court after April 2026. He would berate them. He would tell them that they were twisting his words, and he would tell them that he was not being allowed to speak properly, and that he was only trying to help the courts get to the truth, but that he was being inhibited. And so my dad, the greedy framer, would throw a temper tantrum in court almost every single day after April 26, 2026. He would harass the people speaking on the other side in court for me after April 2026, and my dad, the greedy framer, would abuse and harass the people in court speaking for me after April 2026, while loudly and aggressively berating them, telling them that they were twisting his words, telling them that they were not letting him speak, telling them that he was not allowed to speak properly when he was trying to help the courts get to the truth. And my dad, the greedy framer, when he was, first of all, he was not helping the courts get to the truth for the 3rd time. The 3rd time as well, he played the court for a fool, where the phone conversations were retrieved, and we found out that these words were not being twisted. Every single time he was being caught, about to get caught, lying once again, because there was some sort of a foul in the statements that he was making. "You twisted my words. That's not what I said. You twisted my words. That's not what I said." Forget twisting the words. These were all completely false statements. Not one word of it was true. The phone conversations retrieved found that every single statement that my dad, the greedy framer, made were all complete and total lies. So my dad, the greedy framer, basically claiming that someone's twisting the words, this and that. He would do this each and every day, and I repeat, each and every day in court after calling and abusing the people working in court, almost as if the people working in court after April 2026 were his personal lackeys who were supposed to be forced to deal with his temper tantrums each and every day after April 2026, get berated by him each and every day after April 2026. Why was he doing it so much like this? Well, he was aggressive from day one, but now he was extremely abusive, and the reason was he knew that even incest had failed and blackmail price tags had failed. I wasn't stupid enough to not know that he was being caught lying over and over again, due to which he was doing all these things like sending me incest requests with his big fat ugly old sisters on March 7th, even though being told on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. that this is an open advertisement for incest, sending me blackmail price tags to try to get me to give him an illegal assurance of money. This was the only option that he had, basically getting really aggressive and abusive in court, and this is exactly what he did. So the people in court after April 2026, they would get berated by him each and every day after April 2026, have to deal with his anger management issues and aggression each and every day after April 2026. And the people in court would get yelled at and screamed at by my dad, the greedy framer, each and every day after April 2026, with my dad, the greedy framer, yelling at them, abusing them, berating them, accusing them of not letting him speak, accusing them of twisting his words. By the way, this was only being done because when he would make false statements, people at court would be able to obviously find foul in the statement. He'd be like, no, you twisted my words. You twisted my words. He would keep yelling that, saying that over and over again, only for us to find out at the end of the day, when the phone conversations were forced to be retrieved, each and every single one, for us to find out that those words were not being twisted. Each and every statement that this psychopath made, even after April 2026, were complete and total lies, and yet he made them while abusing every single person in court, showing extreme aggressive behavior and extremely aggressive language to abuse the people at court while narrating for the third time, basically playing the court for a fool for the third time. November 20th was the first time, second time were the subsequent set of lies that he made. All of those lies, by the way, every single one were already confessed to the government informant as being lies. So they treated the government informant as being a car mechanic that they took their car to and told them all the problems that they had. Well, those problems were basically lies that they were going to make against me. And so, yeah, talked a little too much, along with telling him what the motive was, which was extreme greed and envy of my brain savant, due to which they ended up sending me all those blackmail price tags, like the really nice oceanfront mansion in Florida, which I will definitely buy for myself. I liked it. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it. After my brain savant gets freed, I'm fully planning on buying that one for sure. So yeah, thanks for telling me about that. I actually found it myself and I was surprised. I was like,